The NBA season, it is less than 48 hours away. We've been waiting for what feels like 6 months for this to happen, and we're here. We're here to preview week one. We're going to be talking through some streaming options for different categories. We're going to talk through the injuries that you need to be aware of, the injury opportunity that comes off the back of that, and plenty more. Who's on back-to-backs? Who's got 2 game weeks? We'll cover it all in this and more. Let's get into it. Everybody, welcome back to the Ball Logic Fantasy Basketball Podcast, brought to you by the Insight Podcast Network. I'm your host, Braino, joined by Horse. And Horse, this is going to be it's Monday, obviously, in Australia, Sunday in the States. A little tradition. We get together and have a chat about the week every week. I'm looking forward to it.
I can't wait. Yeah, it feels like forever. We've got nearly 80 episodes now out in the preseason, talking all things NBA. And now we get to see some proper action. No more preseason, no more lineups filtered with, your end of bench sort of players. It's the real stuff that's happening, as you said, less than 48 hours from now.
It's going to be refreshing. We're speaking to Matrix and Mally, who both did a show yesterday on potentially waiver wire pickups after you draft that are just sitting there ready to be picked up. And they said it was really refreshing to not have to talk about draft content. And I think I'm feeling a little bit the same. Like it's been a long preseason, like you said, nearly 80 episodes, plenty of good stuff there. But I'm just looking forward to ripping in. So it's going to be good. Guys, if you want to support the show, please hit the subscribe button. You won't miss any future episodes there. We'll be coming to you 6 days a week. We'll talk about the schedule a little bit later, but 6 days a week to bring you all sorts of fantasy basketball content to help you win your leagues and beat your mates. So, make sure to hit that subscribe button so you don't miss any of those. Hit the thumbs up if you like the show and you like the content. We would appreciate that. And the hype button is new on YouTube. If you want to go and hit that for us to hype up the show, we would love that as well. For those of you on audio, hit that follow button. Leave us a 5-star review if you do also like the content. Horse, from what I can see, there are 33 players that are confirmed out coming into week one. We probably should talk about them, shouldn't we?
We should.
There's
a lot going on, isn't there?
Gotcha.
Yeah. You got me. But, mate, coming into week one of the NBA season, there's a lot going on. And we've got a little slide here that we'll bring up who we think are probably the more prominent players when we're talking NBA fantasy and injuries, Braino. From the top, Hero, 4 to 6 weeks still probably. There were whispers that he was going to be back by week one, but it looks likely it's not going to happen now. LeBron James, we know with that sciatic issue, he's probably still 3 to 4 weeks away. Scottie Pippen Jr., he's out for 12 weeks. That came out yesterday. Zach Collins, this is a new one, fractured wrist. He's out for 4 weeks, so wheels up Jalen Smith there in Chicago. Jaden Ivey, he's had that knee procedure, 4 to 6 weeks. Sabonis, this is an interesting one. I reckon he'll be done for at least the first couple of days in week one. So if you picked him up in round one or early in round two in your drafts, you'll be disappointed, but he looks likely to miss early with that hamstring. And Jalen Green with a hamstring as well, mate. 2 to 3 weeks to start off the NBA fantasy season, but you'll have a list there, mate. There's a whole lot more going on when we're talking injuries.
Yeah, there is. I guess, we probably should bring it back up. Some players that will get a little bit of a bump or a benefit, I guess, that you can keep a very close eye on. Davion Mitchell, obviously with Hero out, there's every chance he gets a little bit of a bump there. I'd expect Norman Powell to probably be the main beneficiary for Tyler Hero. LeBron James, Rui Hachimura is sitting on, waivers in majority of leagues at the moment. I think he's only 30% rostered, or 25% rostered on Yahoo. So definitely a guy you're going to want. Scottie Pippen Jr., it'd be great for Ty Jerome if he was fit and healthy, but it looks like he's done himself a bit of a mischief. He's out with a calf as well. We just don't know the timeline on that. Jaden Ivey probably just makes me feel a little bit even more confident in Asar Thompson personally. There's just a clearer pathway for opportunity there for him. And Sabonis, I'm not overly worried about Sabonis. I think he's going to be relatively quick back. I'd be surprised if he missed week 2. So, not a big deal there. Jalen Green, obviously Grayson Allen ends up being the guy that benefits there from those injuries. But yeah, you're right. There are a ton more. Obviously, we know that Scoot Henderson, he's going to be out. He's being reevaluated on what looks like a 3 weeks' time. I'd be very surprised if we saw him in November. It looked like a pretty serious hammy as well, didn't it, for Scoot? So, yeah, Drew Holiday wheels up. I think that's probably why he started streaming up boards.
Yeah, for sure. And then you've got the likes of Max Struess, who's out until start of December. Same with Keegan Murray. Brandon Clark, probably middle of November. We're looking at their topic. The backup point guard at OKC. They're very deep, though, so not really worried there. Kevon Looney, that's probably pretty relevant when we're talking, Evis Missy and the likes. He'll get a bump for a couple of weeks. Zach Edey out at Memphis. So do they go with Jock Landale at the 5, or are they going to push Triple J back into the middle? That's yet to be seen. De'Aaron Fox, Darius Garland, Bilal Coulibaly. There's, so much going on to start this season, Braino.
There is, and none of these are really big news. Obviously, we just want to make sure everybody's up to date on, making sure that at least these players are in your IR slots. If you've ended up drafting him like an Edey and you managed to snag him late, he's not going to be back for at least a couple or a few weeks. So, definitely getting these guys in your IR. DeAndre Hunter's probably the one that from Max Struess that stands out for me. Like, he started to go quite late in drafts as well. We're going to talk to you guys about streaming options as well for week 1. And we'll give you different categories: points, threes, rebounds, assists, steals, and blocks, and guys that you can chase in those categories to win those categories and hopefully win yourself your matchup. So we'll cover them a little bit later. A few of those guys will be the beneficiary of injury to start with. There's one of them that's my favourite, and we know how hard it is to get assists. There's a guy that's putting his hand up this week and could be a really nice waiver ad if you need to win your assist category this week.
100%.
Mate, we should let's move on from the injuries, hey, and let's get stuck into the weekly preview.
He's heating up.
Now, of course, the weekly preview, we're going to be covering what each day looks like in terms of total games. And for those of you seasoned vets out there, this isn't going to be any news to you. For if you're new to fantasy basketball, you're going to want to make sure that you stay on top of this. Now, this is going to give you a bit of a guide on when you should be streaming what days. So as we can see here, and this is in US, so for those of you in the US, you'll see exactly what you see there and nothing will surprise you. But if you're in Australia, you have to bump that day forward a little bit. Because Monday is our final day for matchups in Australia, obviously Sunday in the States and in the NBA world. So, kicking off with a 2-day, two games on the first day of NBA season, Horse. It's pretty much the ultimate spot there if you want to get quite aggressive, especially if you have stashed a couple of guys in IR. That first day, you're going to want to ideally target. Do you agree?
100%. Get yourself off to an early start there and, utilise the waiver wire. Get yourself a couple extra games on your opponent because by the end of the week, that could be the difference between a 7-2 win or a 4-5 loss. So, smart idea to work the waiver wire there.
Yeah, and working the waiver wire on a day like a Wednesday or Friday, as we can see here, they both have 12 games on these days. Now, that's what we call a high volume day. Now, working the waiver wire, you're probably going to have a full roster on these days anyway. So it doesn't make sense to go and pick up any of these guys that are playing on a Wednesday or a Friday. You really want to take advantage of filling your roster spots, your active roster spots, on the Tuesday, the Thursday, the Saturday, and potentially even the Sunday to win yourself your matchup. So that's what we mean by high and low volume days. You'll see us and hear us reference that throughout the season a lot, and we'll bring you this graphic every single week so you know which days you need to be streaming and which days you can probably rely on the guys you've drafted as you're going to have a full squad to play from. So I guess when we look at this horse, it's Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday, Sunday, isn't it? To really target when it comes to streaming, and even better so, we're looking at back-to-backs that are pretty relevant. We're going to list these for you every week. Do you want to go through those for the audio listeners that can't look at this? Give us a rundown on who's on back-to-backs.
Yeah, so back-to-backs Thursday, Friday, it's the Golden State Warriors. Friday, Saturday, Atlanta, Memphis, Phoenix, and Orlando. Saturday, Sunday, you've got Charlotte and Indiana. Sunday, Monday, Boston. There's 10 teams. Boston, Brooklyn, Cleveland, Dallas, Detroit, Lakers, Minnesota, Portland, San Antonio Spurs, and the Toronto Raptors.
So as you can see here, there's a few different tactics that we can work with, and let's have a chat, Horse, about the Thursday, Friday first. Now, obviously, the Golden State Warriors, they play they play on that low volume Tuesday or Wednesday in Australia for day one, which means that we're talking about a guy potentially like a Buddy Hield who is going to play 3 games in 4 days off the back of that. Now, the bonus there is that you can go, cool, the Golden State Warriors don't play any games through the weekend at all. They don't play the Saturday, they don't play the Sunday, they don't really influence your lineup at all in those points. So what you can do is you can look to go a Buddy Hield, who is on that back-to-back Thursday, Friday, you can then move him on. And as you can see here, the Saturday, Sunday in Charlotte, Indiana could be the perfect little pivot point there. Once you've got through your Buddy Hield stream, you move into another guy like a Colin Sexton in Charlotte that could then go and do a very similar thing and help you finish off and win that category.
Love it. If you're looking for assists or points, you're looking at a Colin Sexton there, or I don't know whether Naismith is going to be on the waivers there from the Indiana Pacers, or Obi Toppin even, or even when you're talking Charlotte, if there's any certainty around, is it Corkbrenner, is it Diabate that's starting, and if they're floating around your waivers and you want some field goal percentage along with some rebounds and some blocks, maybe they're your options.
Absolutely. And I mean, look, you know, Golden State Warriors aren't the be-all and end-all here, Thursday, Friday. You've also got 4 teams on the back-to-back Friday and Saturday. So I think, you know, when you're looking at the way that the week is split up, and we get all of this data for anybody trying to work it out. We get this data from #basketball. They've got a great schedule there. That's where we'll be referencing for most of the season. You know, that Friday, Saturday, if you've got a team, a player in your team that plays the Tuesday, Thursday, they're a fringe player, you don't care about dropping them, you can then go your Tuesday, your Thursday, and then you can go the back-to-back on the Friday, Saturday there, into a potential back-to-back on the Sunday into the start of the week for next week. So the reason why on this graphic you're going to see we've put Sunday and then Monday into week 2 is because you kind of want to back up as many, especially with your streaming spots, back up as many of these back-to-backs as possible so that you can get a numbers advantage on your opponent leading into week 2, and you're using a waiver wire ad from week 1 to advantage you in week 2 if you've potentially already won your matchup, Horse.
100%, and that waiver wire ad doesn't count for your week 2, so effectively you're getting an extra stream.
Yeah, you are, and that's what you're looking for. You're looking for, I would say most people will have, 4 to 5 waiver ads per week. Waiver acquisition. So, you know, if you've only used 2, your matchup's looking good, you can start to prepare for next week and start to look at those back-to-backs even further into next week. So this show, obviously, every single week, every Monday in Australia or Sunday in the States is going to be catered towards helping you understand the schedule and understand the back-to-backs and the dailies so that you can plan your stream out well in advance, and you're going to have a way better idea on what your matchup looks like if you're chasing certain categories and things like that as well. Horse, it's also relevant for people to know how many teams there are on only a 2-game week as well, because obviously, you know, these aren't really going to be helping you too much, and you're not going to go and drop a very good player just off the back of the fact they have a shit week when it comes to these numbers, but maybe we're going to be avoiding specific players on the waiver wire based on this.
Yeah. For anyone that's inside our Patreon, there was a story or an article that was dropped today on the week 1 preview, a scheduled deep dive as to what to do in week 1. But in part of our pro tips that we've got in there, I'm not going to give too much away, but you've got to have one eye on the long game as well. So if you've got your superstars from the Bulls, the Sixers, the Nuggets, the Jazz, the Pelicans, or the Rockets, you know that they've only got 2 games on in the first week. But say the Pelicans, for example, they then go into perhaps one of the best runs schedule-wise in the NBA within a 5 or 6 week block. So you've got to be quite particular with how you attack the first week, but at the same time, you've got to have one eye to the future as well.
Yeah, absolutely. And knowing these in advance, like you can see all 23, 24 weeks, depending on how your league's set up, you can see all that already. So if you want to just go ahead and have a look at which of these teams are on good runs, Horse just mentioned the Pelicans, you can start to plan your waiver ads for potentially next week and have a look and see if you can snag a couple of those guys nice and early, knowing that they're going to be playing maximum volume for you over the next few weeks. So for sure, we're going to do our best every week to bring you that, as well as a number of players that you can stream in and out based on categories needed. And it's hard to know that yet, but obviously that'll be based on how your matchup is going throughout the week. So you did mention those 6 teams on the 2-game week is the Bulls, the Nuggets, the Rockets, the 76ers, Jazz, and the Pels. So yeah, not a great week to be an owner of these guys. Hopefully you don't have too many, but obviously nothing to do with panic stations just yet. It's more a matter of maybe potentially avoiding a couple of these guys that are on your waiver wire for a player that's on a 3-game week or has a back-to-back that we've just mentioned. So that's right. Worth working that out. Now, mate, obviously a lot of people watch this show every week because they want to plan out who the kind of players are that they should be targeting. So let's move into the waiver wire.
Target acquired.
Now we're going to bring you players that we think will win you categories, and that is this week. And we're looking at players that are rostered in 30% or under in Yahoo leagues. Obviously, a little bit different across the board, but for the most part, it evens out. So 30% and under. Points and threes, Horse. These guys can definitely put some points up, and a lot of them are in some pretty good situations. Let's talk through them.
Yeah, 100%. And for those that are listening on audio, we do have graphics up on YouTube if you want to get across and have a look here. Colin Sexton, he's only 30% owned at the moment there at Charlotte. You would expect that he would get a pretty good run there with the oft-injured LaMelo Ball. And then what you've got, your Bridges team, or your Bridges and your Miller in that Charlotte Hornets team that there's not really much else going on there with scoring. So DeAndre Hunter, you brought him up before, 27%. We both feel like he'll be a spot starter there in Cleveland to start off with, and he does have some upside with scoring and threes. Rui Hachimura in LeBron's spot for the first couple of weeks at the very least. He's only 23% owned at the moment. A really nice streamer if you are looking for points and threes. Buddy Hield, he loves to shoot the three ball. Only 16% owned at the moment. Should be available almost everywhere. Dylan Brooks, I'm not so high on. He can score you the ball and hit threes, but yeah, at times his percentages can be really poor. So that's a pretty tricky ad there if you see Dylan Brooks on your waivers and you need points, but you also need to look after field goal percentage. Kelly Oubre Jr., I like more than Dylan Brooks. He probably offers a little bit more of your regulation type stats when you're talking rebounds and assists to what Dylan Brooks does. He's also 14% owned. Bryce Sensabaugh, your boy, Braino, from the preseason. You're my guy. This guy can flat out shoot the ball. If he's on your waivers and you're looking for points, he's one of my favorites on this list. And Grayson Allen, especially early on with no Jalen Green, only 9% owned. He gives you points, he gives you threes, but he's also good at getting a cheeky steal as well, Braino.
Yeah, a lot of these guys can double up in categories, that's for sure. You know, Dylan Brooks can get you a steal or two as well, like a pretty good defender from a fantasy standpoint. Obviously, just has trouble with fouls. But yeah, Bryce Sensabaugh, I'm very, very keen to see how he goes this year. We've got a bolter bet. Myself and Squiddy have a bowl to bet on to if Bryce Sensabaugh, and I think Bryce Sensabaugh could be a top 5 3-point percentage shooter on more than 300 attempts this year. We've already seen that in the preseason. This kid can shoot the ball. So I think there's a big opportunity for him out there this year in Utah. Like, it just looks like they've just completely... They're starting to tank before the season. Is it possible to tank the preseason? I think that they maybe give that a red-hot crack too. So, yeah, every chance Bryce Sensabaugh gets the ball out this year. So, yeah, some good points and threes options there once you get stuck at the back end of your week. Just keeping an eye on, obviously, when those players are playing and not going and bringing a waiver wire ad in when one of them aren't playing for obvious reasons. Let's have a chat about boards, mate. There's a few guys out there that can get you some rebounds. Namias Cater, probably the standout here, obviously 24% rostered at the moment. He will be the starting center in Boston. Wendell Carter Jr., he's only 24% rostered. I found this really interesting because obviously he's not just a rebounder, Wendell Carter Jr. He can shoot you threes, so he fits a really nice build there. I did draft him in what was it? It was a punt. There's a specific build that I got him in. But, punt field goals build for him as a center is handy. Mitchell Robinson, probably one of the best rebounders on this list, 16%. He'll also get you blocks, and a lot of guys double up as blocks, but we'll bring you some block guys later. Al Horford, he'll get you some boards. Just beware that he will not play the back-to-back for Golden State, so you're only going to get 2 games from him. So I'd probably proceed with caution there with Al Horford, but again, only 16% rostered, so definitely worth a look. Jonas Valanciunas should be the man that is backing up Nikola Jokic, and whilst the minutes won't be there, he is a rebounds per minute beast. So in a really good spot there to snag, kind of like an Andre Drummond in Philly, where he'll go out and get you 8 to 10 rebounds in 15 minutes of play. So, a really nice rebound streamer there at the back end of the week. And Yusuf Nurkic, obviously, over there. So 6% rostered for him as well. So those are the rebounding targets. Do you want to touch on blocks, Horse? Because I reckon it probably filters in quite nicely with the rebounders.
Yeah, for sure, mate. So when we're looking at blocks here, we've got Evis Missy. He is 37% owned, and we touched on earlier, Kevon Looney's out for the first couple of weeks, so he might be a really nice streamable target there. Brook Lopez, he's been really good in the past, really good with his threes, really good blocks, only 25% owned at the moment. I really like him, even towards the back end of the draft. He's only going to be playing you 24 minutes a night, but I think that's all he needs, especially when he's playing against your backup centers in the leagues. Isaiah Jackson, he is a defensive beast. He's quite good with field goal percentage as well, because the only time he shoots it is when he's around the rim, whether he's putting back dunks or whether he's shooting it from within 5 feet. So hand in hand, field goal percentage and blocks for Isaiah Jackson. Mitch Robinson, rebounds, field goal percentage, and blocks as well. Jay Huff loves a block and a 3-ball. Taylor Hendricks, the wing from the Utah Jazz, loves a block. Really excited to see his progression this year. And Dayron Sharp, he's only 3% owned at the moment, but I'd like this time stamped. I reckon there won't be any clacko there at the Brooklyn Nets come midway through the year, and I reckon Dayron Sharp is going to pick up and play out the year.
Dayron Sharp is definitely in line for a good opportunity this year. I think also Noah Clowney's a guy that we want to keep an eye on. He's also a really good defensive player, so he'll find his steals and his blocks for sure if he gets the chance out there. Now, those are the blocks guys. Now, of course, you've got your assists guys here, and there's a couple that I'm quite excited about. Now, Chris Paul, 29%, very obvious pick there. These assist guys, some of them double up as steals guys as well. So Chris Paul can definitely get you a steal. He will get you probably 6 assists off the bench there behind James Harden this year, I would naturally assume. Very similar role that he had in the Golden State Warriors behind Steph Curry. I'd expect those kind of numbers from him. We're not going to see, obviously, the amazing stuff that he did last year in San Antonio, but definitely a 6 assist guy, I'd say, off the bench, which is fantastic. Dylan Harper, good facilitator. We saw him connect with Wemby a number of times in the preseason, so I really like what I saw from him. He's only 28% rostered. Davion Mitchell, I think just by the sheer fact that he's going to get the start, or he should get the start in Miami, he'll fall into, I'd say, anywhere between 3 to 5 assists. And also a steals guy, very good defender. Russell Westbrook, I think that goes without saying that if he gets 15 minutes, he's going to get 6 assists and 7 turnovers. So if you're punting turnovers, wheels up. Really good little ad there. Russell Westbrook, I think. I'm proceeding with caution on anyone from the Kings roster at the moment just to see what these minutes look like initially, because, Keon Ellis could get the start there. Then it's a complete lottery how they go there with what they're going to do with Malik Monk and Russ. So Yegor Yemen, 17%, very good facilitator, very high praise over there in Brooklyn. He looks like he will be the starting point guard. He is only 17% rostered for a starting point guard who can average 6 assists per game this year. And the one that I'm the most excited about, Mally put up a post on social media and gave it all away, but Tyus Jones should get the start. Jalen Suggs does not look to be fit for the start of the season. So even in a spot start or two for Tyus Jones, he is an incredibly good assists guy. And whilst he won't have the ball in his hands a ton, he's still a guy that you're going to want in your team. And I'd be very surprised if he doesn't go and get you 6 assists a game for the first couple.
I love that you've brought him up, even in a stacked Suns lineup. Was it last year or the year before? And it was when he was with, was it Memphis? He ended up with a triple-double.
Yep.
So he can get you other counting stats as well.
Yeah, absolutely. And he doesn't hurt your field goal percentage. He doesn't hurt your free throws. And he can get you a steal. So, yeah, definitely a guy that you're going to want to look at and maybe snap him up at the right time this week. Obviously, Orlando have a back-to-back, correct me if I'm wrong, at the back end of this week on the weekend from memory. Yeah, so definitely someone you want to keep an eye out on. The back-to-back on the Friday and the Saturday. So definitely a guy you might want to look at around that point if someone doesn't beat you to it. And Mike Conley, there's every chance he probably still plays meaningful enough minutes to be a good contributor there over in Minnesota. So, yeah, keep an eye out on Mike Conley. It should be a very easy ad considering he's only 4% rostered at the moment. Now, let's move to steals, mate. Where are we looking at with steals? Because there's some great steals, guys, and I find like this category is probably one of the easiest to stream along with threes.
Yeah. One of my guys right at the top. How do you say his name? Keyshawn George? I love him. I reckon he's great. 26% owned. Washington Wizards will be legend. They've got CJ McCollum. They've got Chris Middleton. Then they've got really not much else going on. Alex Sarr's going to get a ton of minutes. We unfortunately saw Bub Carrington carried off the court the other day, unknown as to his injury status at the moment. But, yeah, George wheels up for him in Washington. Can shoot the three, can steal the ball, can play defense. Yeah, really looking forward to see how he goes this year. Then we've got the OKC legends in Caruso and Dort, 18 and 15% owned. You know what you're going to get out of both of them, both really good defensively. Keon Ellis, you touched on him just before, 13%. He's also getting quite good from the three as well. Gary Trent Jr., starting in Milwaukee. He'll give you threes, he'll give you steals, and he won't give you too much more, so don't expect too much outside of that. or some points as well, maybe. Moses Moody, he's questionable to start the year, so just be careful there if you're looking for some steals. I believe he's got a calf issue. Correct me if I'm wrong there, Braino. And Chris Dunn, he's historically been a very good defensive player, especially of late for the Clippers, and at 3% owned, can definitely get you some steals.
He probably also, he backs up Bradley Beal, and Beal's only just played his first game in the preseason, so they might be, in terms of minutes, working him up into a decent minute share there. So I reckon Chris Dunn could probably get some elevated minutes early in the season with Bradley Beal. And also probably one of the better perimeter defenders in the league, Chris Dunn. So yeah, he'll definitely find his way into a steal or two. Great in a passing lane too. But yeah, some really good options there for your steals. Of course, guys, you can go back and screenshot this. We'll also chapter it down below, so if you want to go back to a certain spot, you can. But Horse, that is the week. That is week 1, and of course, it's a shorter week, so we don't have anywhere near as much to talk about. The lists will probably get a little bit bigger, and let us know what you think about the format as well. We'd love your feedback. Drop us in the comments and let us know how you want this show structured. We're more than happy to cater it to what you guys would like. Whether that's the way we've done it, or whether you want us to go through day by day and have a look at potential streaming options off the back of the back-to-backs, we're happy to structure it however you want. Horse, not too bad for day 1.
It's pretty good, given that we'll be on here 6 nights per week for the NBA season. There's plenty more to come.
Talk to us, mate. There's still more than 24 hours left until the season starts. Over on Patreon, of course, people can join less than $10 a month Australian, less than $7 US for the full month to get access to everything. What have we got in there in store for the next few days in the lead up to the season?
Oh, we've got heaps. We've dropped a week 1 preview today, a scheduled deep dive as to how to attack the week, where you should be looking at adding players, waiver wire ads, what days you should be looking to target, what days maybe to avoid with waiver wires, teams to be targeting into week 2, and a whole lot more. So that dropped today, but there's team previews, there's our thoughts and I guess feelings on certain players and our teams and how we're going to go about the season as well. But there's also a WhatsApp group. So you'll have us on tap 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Send a message into the group, and yeah, if we're up, we've got kids, so we're normally up in the middle of the night anyway. We're happy to answer those questions on tap for you at home.
Absolutely. Get involved, even if it is for the first month, and just see what it's all about. Get involved. And guys, if you don't want to, it doesn't matter. We're going to be here for you 6 days a week anyway, giving you all the content you need to win your leagues. Beat your mates, which is the most important part of leagues, and maybe win a little bit of cash. But guys, thanks for watching. Thanks for tuning in. Let us know what your thoughts are in the comments. Let us know the players that you're targeting this week when it comes to waivers. Maybe we didn't mention them. Let us know who you're hot on this week. And hopefully you can get off to a red-hot start in your leagues. We'll be back tomorrow. It'll be... Who's on tomorrow? Yourself and Flanders are on tomorrow, aren't you?
That's right. Yes, sir.
Good. So we'll be previewing every day and having a bit of a chat about the ball that's happened the previous day as well. Less than 24 hours. Get pumped. See you tomorrow.
Peace.